Hi folks, hope you're okay today. I'm just making a video about this book. Melville Bragg talks about how the Bible influenced Charles Dickens in his writing. He writes, Charles Dickens frequently uses phrases from the Bible to make a dramatic moment swell even larger with spiritual and emotional significance, as when in Bleak House little neglected starved Joe lies dying. A friend teaches him the Lord's Prayer, etc. So Charles Dickens was influenced by the Bible in his writing. That's the mighty Bible. It's affected science, but it's also affected literature. Hi folks, I just want to talk about George Eliot from this book. And she was influenced by the Bible in her writing. Bragg says George Eliot, another novelist whose admirers claim her as the greatest, is inevitably dynamically related to the Bible as any other. George Eliot was an expert in biblical criticism, and she didn't believe in Christianity, but if you read her work, for example, Bragg says she moves from false simplicity of Silas Marner, practically a straight addition to Christ's own parables, to the moral imaginative altitude of Middlemarch, often using discrete dramatic devices from the Bible. So that's George Eliot, how she was influenced by the Bible. Hi folks, we're looking at how the Bible's influenced people, and it influenced Alfred Lord Tennyson, 1809 to 92. Dr. Van Dyke, a Bible scholar, writes that we cannot help seeing that Tennyson owes a large debt to the Christian scriptures, not only for their formative influence on his mind, and for the purely literary masterful material in the way of illustration and illustrations which they have given him, but also for the creation of a moral atmosphere. So that's Alfred Lord Tennyson. We could go for hours and hours talking about how the Bible's influenced literature, and in American literature we read from Melville Bragg says, he goes, every reader of Moby Dick would be expected to know who Ishmael was. Herman Melville's epic adventure is open to the double and entwined interpretation as a retelling of the Old Testament story of the Ark and the pursuit of evil by good men, and also the key myth of this new country's view of itself, forever pushing on, ceaselessly seeking Canaan and finding the promised land. And so that's Herman Melville and the Bible. The Bible's influenced English and American literature like no other book. Hi folks, the Bible's influenced literature like no other book, and we have William Faulkner, a Nobel Prize winner, in his book Absalom. Melville Bragg says, as well as this dramatic context, critics have pointed out that the book is packed with biblical references from Adam and Eve to David and Goliath to a mirroring of the creation story. So get hold of this book, it's a brilliant book. Absolutely love it. And so William Faulkner was influenced by the Bible in his writing. Yep, the Bible has had a massive influence on literature in America and the UK. In The Rainbow, D.H. Lawrence says, so with Bragg wagons came and went without fear of necessity, working hard because of the life that was in them, not from want of money, neither were they thriftiness, they were aware of the last halfpenny, and instinct made them not waste the peeling of their apple, for it would help to feed the cattle. And he goes on. The significance of this language Bragg notes, Melville Bragg, quote, and on Lawrence would go on until the end of his brief life. Almost at the very end he wrote about the nonconformist preachers in the coal mining chapels of his childhood. So the Bible had a massive influence on D.H. Lawrence. Even though he didn't believe in it, it still influenced his writing. Again, the Bible and literature have been, the Bible's influenced English and American literature in a powerful way. Bragg says this about John Steinbeck. I read John Steinbeck in my early teens, and I think I began The Canary Row and Of Mice and Men, books which could not then be read often enough. I was coming towards the end of a childhood adolescence of intense Christianity soaked in guilt, but also alert to goodness in life, and surely ought to win through. The Great Giraffe, the novel that clinched Steinbeck's Nobel Prize, all but hypnotized me. It revealed in imagination both characters and situations which I could totally identify. They also realised then carried a Christian socialism. So Steinbeck's book had a Christian socialism, so the Bible's influenced John Steinbeck. Hi folks, we're looking at literature, how the Bible's influenced it. William Golding was a classicist and a pagan, but as Melville Bragg says, quote, "But the Bible infuses what for me are his strongest books, The Spire and Lord of the Flies." So Melville Bragg notices how the Bible has influenced William Golding in his writing. So then Melville Bragg goes on to note a whole host of other writers that have been influenced by the Bible. He says, "It would be possible to rummage around and find so many other examples: C.S. Lewis, Emily Dickinson, Dylan Thomas, Gerald Manley Hopkins, Christina Rossetti, J.K. Chesterton, Oscar Wilde, Elizabeth Bishop, Roger Kipling, Margaret Atwood, Wallace Stevens, Mark Twain. These writers take what the Bible said as sufficient, if not gospel, as words and possibilities, if not prophecies and certainties, but are still beguiled, even a little bewitched by it. Bible and influenced great literature."